Hello, people of the internet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Saturday to you all. Hopefully, your weekend is off to a great start. Of course, as it is Saturday, if you've been around for long enough, you know what it means. It is another round of OSTs for episode 15 of OSTs. Can you believe it? We've done 15 weeks of this already. It also means it's been 15 weeks in the year already, which is kind of blowing my mind because it does not feel like it's been that long. But besides the point, if you're new around here, what we do every Saturday is we just pull together a handful of OSTs that release throughout the week, and then we just kind of marathon them here on Saturdays. This week, featuring Miss K from Lovelyz, we've got a little bit of MAMAMOO Plus, got a little bit of TNX. I think this will be our first involvement for an OST, which is tremendously exciting for them, and rapper JUSTHIS to wrap up the day. So, let's just jump right into it. As always, if you want to skip ahead to a certain song, the timeline below is going to be chaptered based off of what we're listening to. So if you want to skip ahead to a certain artist, you are free to do so. But if you're in it for the long haul like me, welcome aboard. Let's get started with number 1, Miss K from the Lovelyz camp. She's done the song You Know Me Better for the drama Oasis and for its OST. So, Miss K, essentially, like, anyone from Lovelyz that does like solo music stuff, I've really enjoyed, and I'm expecting some magic. I'm expecting some vocal magic from K. So let's full send it. Here we go.
너와 눈이 마주칠 땐 가만히 공기마저 흐르지 않는 듯 천천히 놓치지 않으려 넌 나를 담아 내 두 눈 가득히 Why are you leave me behind 빈틈없이 날 안아주던 네가 공허하게
I love a good string section in a song. There's her low vibrato. K's got such a nice subtle vibrato, just across her entire vocal range. Interesting that this song hasn't really progressed all that much in terms of the instrumental part. Like, it's a little bit different in the second verse, but not as much as I thought it would be.
Oh, why can't you read my mind? 내 맘이 닿지 않아 널 끌어당겨 더 깊숙이 안아봐도 멀게만 느껴지게 해 You know me better than I do
That flourish in the chorus is really interesting. Because it's only her voice driving that flourish. The instrumental doesn't do anything in it. Cello going up the octave there.
우리의 모든 순간 예고
the same kind of vibrato across all three like vocal ranges that she has. I think that's really cool. All right, Miss K. What a song. What a song. It's really interesting kind of like ballad type song because it's entirely, well, acoustic, and there's kind of like a very specific way I mean acoustic in that although there's engineering involved with the song in general, the instrumentation is entirely done using acoustic instruments. Might be samples, I don't actually know. Like, my ears aren't that good where I can tell if it's an acoustic piano or if it's just an acoustic sound pack on an electric piano. You get my point. But the song, all it has is a little bit of guitar, a little bit of cello, and a little bit of piano and K's vocals. That's it. Even though, like, there's a pretty evident reverb effect on all the instrumentals and her voice as well, that's all the engineering that's being done to it. There's no, like, artificial synthesizer, there's no weird, like, EDM type riser, there's no synth pad, like, percussion line. It's just her voice and acoustic instrumentals. And for me, the combination of just a singular voice and acoustic instruments and just those two, I think is a really powerful composition style for me. Just because for me, when I get like the mental image of someone singing over, like, it's just an artist's voice and acoustic instruments and that's it, it just feels a lot more personal. Like, it feels like it's like the true like raw emotion of the song on display. And I think especially when it comes to ballads, I just think they hit a little bit harder for me. And You Know Me Better is kind of like the perfect example of it. Because when you listen to, we can actually go back and listen to it if I can find it. The pre-chorus going into the chorus is, I think, the pinnacle point of that whole kind of like raw unfilteredness of this song. Notice how when you have like a standard like pop ballad in a way, when you reach like the final or when you reach the build going into the release of the chorus, there's typically like a little bit of a riser in it, in that the song like naturally builds up energy and there's like an indication that the song's about to switch into a ballad. Now, with You Know Me Better, if you follow the song like musically and you understand like the whole like song formula of like verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and you follow it, you can kind of piece together what it's like. But ultimately, the only indication that the flourish for the chorus happens is K's vocals, and that's it. Like, the instrumentals are like petering away and like fading into the background as K's voice comes in from the top to lead in the chorus. And it's that kind of like swapping of roles now where the instrumental is making way for K's vocals to come in, and the transition, it's like in place of one instead of on top of the other. And I think that's really interesting. It's a really clever composition style, especially when it's a song that's not engineered at all. So I like that. Very much enjoyed that. Next up, Mamamoo Plus. Now, this was on a variety show called The Queens, which I'd never heard of, but it was on the OST list, so we're going to check it out. Mamamoo Plus recently had a comeback. They had the, what was it, Act 1, Scene 1 little single that they dropped. That was good fun. I was actually listening to Chico Malo a little while ago. I love that song. But that was a really good single. And now they have an OST now. So the song is called Super Gap. Here we go. Okay, what do we got here?
Here comes back theory, the legendary. It's time to see unashamed as the move. The German theory, the one and only. You know the dream that the world has approved. Up, up and down, you can see your
I hear you, Buell, in the background there.
First time that I saw her, I thought she was some kind of goddess from an Asian saga. Now I get it why they all look up to her. If you don't know what I mean, why don't you look up for the daughter?
Oh, it's loud. Oh, it's in your face.
Try to copy her. No, cause you copy her.
Oh my god, the brass section. It's like a MAMAMOO-ified big brass band song, and I love it.
She's the best lady. Nothing can stop her. She makes her bed. It's one more birthday. Trophies at the end of the day. Up and down, up and down. Sending far across the field to the horizon. See you eagle fly against the rising sun. You know she will make it to the top like but Siri, first time that I saw her, I thought she was
This breakdown might feel jarring on first listen, but it's so needed for this song because the rest of the song is way too in your face. Especially with the way that chorus drops. Then straight into the bridge. There's like a weird filter over this bridge now. You'll get to flex both the vocals and the rap. Holy hell, that brass section is really far forward. Bruh. Wow. Oh, that song makes a statement. It is. I love a brass section in a song. Like, I think brass and pop music is a really underrated combination. But this is levels beyond what I expect when pop meets brass music. Because this is like MAMAMOO Plus decided to take like a brass band song. Not just like this could be something played at like marching band. Like, it's got that type of brass band energy to it. But it's been MAMAMOO-ified a little bit. Like, I didn't realize that combination was something I needed in my life. But that was quite good fun. I didn't think I'd say this, but I never would have thought I would interpret Moonbyul's rapping verses as a break. Because that's what they feel like to me. Because, like, when you have a rapper doing their, like, verse, typically the instrumentals kind of, take a little step back. And with just how loud and in your face the song is, especially in the chorus, having Moonbyul in the pre-choruses rapping when the instrumental just takes a little bit of a break is such a needed break for the song, but two, sets up that first brass hit of the chorus so well. Like, we can go back to it if I can find it. I'm gonna say that a lot. First time that I saw her, I thought she was some kind of goddess from an Asian saga. Now I get it why they all look up to her. If you don't know what I mean, why don't you? Pretty minimalistic so far, and then what a setup into this brass hit. Yeah, it's like Moonbyul's verses, like rapping sections, are the breaks of just like Runaway Vehicle, and once the brass section kicks in, it is all guns a-blazing. It is wild. It is an experience to listen to this. I think the mixing is a little bit interesting. I think it's a little bit lacking in the mids. Like I want a little bit more middle in the song. Like it's got a lot of treble, with like especially with the amount of trumpets that's in the song, and it's got a nice beat at the bottom. But I want a little bit more in the mids. I wonder if this is just the YouTube mix of it that is causing this, but that's a very, very minuscule thing to pick on. Apart from that, good stuff. Next up, TNX, the P Nation boy group. Also, if I'm correct in thinking, their first ever OST contribution. That's very exciting indeed. So they have done the song Beautiful World for the webtoon Warm Black Tea. Now, webtoon OSTs sometimes do go pretty hard, and well, the webtoon named Warm Black Tea kind of feels like, I don't know, maybe like a slice of life, like a kind of like calm, laid back song, which or kind of like a laid back environment, which I don't really associate with TNX, because I kind of associate TNX with a little bit of a more aggressive, harder tone. So I'd be intrigued to see what this comes across as. So let's send it. Do we have? Oh, we have subs too. Oh, that's cool. I like this little text layout. But also, this is really smooth. I love that. Bringing the low voice after the high voice. The vocals. Little major to minor key change there. Oh, interesting switch into the verse. It never made it back to the 4 chord there. But I'm loving the tremendous amount of vocal harmonies. We with the rap verse, that fits really well into the song. That major into the minor chord is so satisfying. Who's floating off in the background there? Is that it? Oh, man, I was enjoying myself. Oh, gentlemen. Oh, that was kind of amazing. Indeed. Ooh. You know, I love me a good vocal. That was a lot of fun. Indeed. It kind of gives me like 2000s boy group, like really cheesy romantic boy group song vibes, and I really like it because it's not. It gives me the vibes of it, but it's not explicitly like that 2000s era like boy group music. Like I'm thinking, like in terms of like K-pop, like Tonfan Shinki's Hug, like that was like just absolutely cheesy boy group music from the mid 2000s. Even in like the West, when you had like your like Backstreet Boys and your NSYNC, you get my point. Like cheesy boy group pop music, it gives off that vibe, but it's only giving off that vibe in the way the song's been constructed. Because I mean, the song sounds very modern, but it's using very key elements from like that 2000s era boy group music that I really quite enjoy listening to, like the abundance of little ooh-ahs and like vocal ad-libs in the background, and just the really smooth like swingy feel of the beat. It's not too quick, it's not too slow. It's just a lot of fun. And what a way for like that was such an impactful way to start the song, because the vocal chord immediately hits your ears. You're like, ah, hey. Like, how satisfying is that for a beginning of a song? Oh. And also, I feel like I talk about him all of the time whenever we talk about TNX, but shout out my guy Hui, man. Like, Hui was the one that really caught my attention when they debuted with Move. When, because he was in the second half of the rap verse on verse number two. He came in with the double time to calendar, fasten up, this is your captain speaking to the passengers. And he's also like the in-group producer as well. Like he's had a lot of involvements with like his group's music. Just different, like I've just got kind of like a level of respect for him in particular. I've always had my eye on him, but when you get the slow songs like this, I tend to worry when rap verses come in, because sometimes they feel like they're forced into the song because the group has rappers. This verse doesn't come across as a rap verse to me, and I think that's why it works for me. Is because there is that kind of like element of melodicness to it. Like, it's still by definition like a rap verse, but he's woven in so much of the melodic quality of like the melodic top line from the rest of the song, that even though it is a rap verse, it doesn't listen as like a rap verse. It listens like a proper just like vocal part, even though by definition it's still a rap verse, with just how much it's more reliant on the rhythm and the accentuated syllables than the actual melody itself. It still has enough of a melodic quality that it listens like a verse, like a standard singing verse, and I love that. That's so clever. This was a beautiful surprise. I very much enjoyed that. And now we move on to the last one. This is rapper JUSTHIS. Now, I'm not very well read on the K-hip hop or the K-rap scene, so this will be a first for me. Said that, I'm always down to learn a couple new things. This is from the show Duty After School. Now, we checked out Weinstein's OST for this last week or 2 weeks ago. Duty After School is a very intriguing show for me. It's like a group of high schoolers being trained to fight against invading aliens. It's an interesting concept, but it's got Soyi from Alice, formerly known as Elris, and it's got former CLC's Kwon Eun-bin as actresses in the in the show, and I'm kind of intrigued. Just the entire premise of the show, but also the cast kind of has me intrigued. But we've got music to check out, and it's kind of a high intensity show, and it's a rapper, so I'm hoping it's kind of got a high intensity song as well. But keeping my mind open. Here we go. JUSTHIS is Gunshot.
I thought everybody wanna live peaceful, so I fought for equal rights and inner peace, but ain't nobody equal, and this is a sequel. 팔지마 촉안 먹히니까 일도 respawn, rebirth, reborn. 어떤 말을 써도 중요한 건 기본. 그걸 못 지키는 놈들에겐 없지 mercy on the list. Hope blood splatter on my soul. 사치 중에 앉기를 바란 건 이제 무덤 앞에서도 무덤도만 내가 더 잔스럽네 뭐. 세상은 쉽지도 않지만 쉬지도 않지. Time is ticking. I ain't got no time.
Quick flow on top of a really dramatic beat. Oh, hi Zoe.
덮인 동화책 눈앞엔 오로지 현실 꿈깨 영화 속에만 있는 줄 알았지만 평화 속에
I like that the beat is acting as kind of like a normal. Oh, there's a bit in the back. The beat is acting like a pop song, but the flow is still just a regular flow, and I like that combination. 갑자기 찾아오니까 위기인 것 똑바로 차려 정신 좀 현실엔 없지 기적 힘을 모아도 위기적 it ain't joke it's a war gotta open your eye yeah yeah nowhere to hide yeah nothing is right yeah the war zone outside get your ass I'll be back 이거 제끼는 nice lead into second verse. 배움의 기회 전부 땡겨 We never ask 그게 서울의 행동 강령 가면 모두 왜 모두 웃는 게 아닌 거 알아 okay 긴장감이 엄습해 텐션에 중독돼 my brain I'm a slave for that no cancel 시간은 이미 당겨졌다 누워지 활시위 난 계속 두 배속 I like that the kind of like main rhythm continues to evolve as the song evolves even though the accentuated vowel stays the same. All of the rhythm in between each accentuated vowel is different. Also, this deep low brass in the beat is sitting so hard. 갑자기 찾아오니까 위기인 것 똑바로 차려 정신 좀 현실엔 없지 기적 힘을 모아도 위기적 it ain't joke it's a war gotta open your eye yeah nowhere to hide yeah nothing commando slide we love a little commando slide. A brass bass beat do go hard all the time, guaranteed. Brass and rap music are just in a really aggressive brass section underneath a rap flow just hits so hard. And admittedly, I don't really understand rap music all that much. I understand like them on a conceptual level in that like I'm able to talk about rap verses through how I perceive them musically. But I don't understand the nuances from like an actual like rap standpoint. So rap music and just like K-hip hop and K-rap in general is a genre that I've been kind of scared to tap into it because I don't really know how to talk about it properly. Having said that, what I do appreciate about a good rap verse is the kind of like the rhythmic nature of it and just how, because to an extent, when you have a rapper on a song, whether it be for the entire thing or whether it be for just one singular verse, the melodic quality compared to, say, a proper vocal part kind of takes a lower priority because it's very much, the emphasis has been shifted more into accentuated syllables, accentuating like what part of the flow goes where in the song and how many little filler sounds you put in between each emphasized syllable, things like that. With Justice's Gunshot, there was no really like set pattern on if, say, the bridge was going to have a slow flow, if this verse was going to have a quick flow. There really wasn't any indicator of that, but it was really consistent throughout, where if it was the verse, you had a nice accentuated syllable was on every downbeat, but you had a nice amount of filler. The second half of the verse, you had a little bit more filler. You slow it down a little bit in the chorus, add maybe a little bit more melodic element to it, add a little bit of intonation into the flow as well. And it's little things like that where you're switching like the core elements of each section of the song around. I think that makes rap verses really interesting to me. While I don't really understand it all that well, it's once you break it down into like kind of like music theory point of view, rapping in its core form is very similar to what background or like sub instrumental sections or percussion parts really focus on. Like I spent a good chunk of my life in orchestra playing second violin, so we would be playing the lower harmony or keeping like kind of keeping the middle part of the song grounded down while the first violins went off and did their top lines and things like that. So I understand a little bit just how important like keeping the base of the song is and just how important it is for the rest of the song. And I know from kind of like listening to a lot of K bands and listening to like hard rock and bands growing up how important percussion parts are to songs as well, because they do the same thing about holding down the bass of the song. For a rapper, they kind of have to incorporate all of that but into their own top line on its own. And I think it's really impressive what they can do. And it's just a really energetic song in that it really showcases the intensity of what's going on screen. And I like that. I like that the song and the visuals from the show that it's being portrayed on and like the plot event that's happening on screen are both synonymous with each other. I think that's really well done. I still need to find a place to watch Duty After School because it just looks so intriguing to me. I say that for a lot of shows. Like I've said that for Alchemy of Souls, especially because I was rewatching Starship Game Caterers the other day, and it brought me back to that. Duty After School is one. I know on the From Us OST marathon we did yesterday, there was talks about how Racket Boys was really good. Taxi Driver 2 looks really interesting. Like a lot of shows where we've checked out OST on OST Saturdays have me really intrigued from not just the OST but like the visuals that have been shown alongside it. I still don't have the time or like the kind of like the patience to get into a show. I might just wait until it's entirely out so I can just like binge it one weekend or something. But that's besides the point. That's all the OSTs for this week. A little bit of a shorter list, but I'm not complaining. This was a roller coaster. We had a little bit of all over the place this week. I'm not mad at it though. But that's it for me today. We got. I know for a fact we've got Monster X and Heike next week. That's already been announced. And then I'll keep track of what drops throughout the week next week. But as is the usual, every Saturday we will do a little mini marathon of OSTs that drops throughout the week. If you're interested in that, make sure you stick around next week. But that's it for me today. Thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy and want to see more, channel icon is up there. You can find the back catalog of stuff watched in the past. Drop a subscription if you want to keep up to date with whenever I upload new videos. And if you want to watch another video of mine right away, YouTube recommends you watch that video down there. And until next time, bye-bye.